Good evening, everybody, and thank you to Chris for her support as well. I want to be very brief and concise because I see a number of you here, and I do recognize a couple of names from previous events. Tristan, most recently, I think came to one of our events last week, so I think we were in the breakout session together. So welcome to everybody that is taking time out to learn a little bit about our program. Especially thank you to our alumni and students who have taken the opportunity to help us out and give back to the program and give you their perspective on our program. So our program, you probably already know some of this. That's why I really want to be concise. Is a Master's of IO Psychology degree. It's a terminal master's, 30 credits, consisting of core, which are foundational courses, prerequisites for other courses in some cases, as well as electives. And we pride ourselves on having a robust roster of elective courses to really allow our students to customize their academic journey to align with their professional trajectory. So we have the program, the master's program. We also have a couple of certificates that are available, and I know that we have some students that have taken, or alumni that have taken advantage of the certificate program. Our program has been around since 2009, and we've had really a great track record of students in terms of accomplishing. We try to follow alumni after they graduate to the extent possible, and really keep up with the great things that they're doing professionally. I have one student who actually came back to UMBC to get her PhD, and we have another couple of students that we have in the queue for that as well that decided to come back for a PhD in specifically public policy, but it would be very much aligned with what we do in IO. Just a couple of things I want to emphasize. A lot of times that we have an academic program where the coursework is emphasized, our great professors who work in the field, I can emphasize that. But I want to take a moment to talk about professional development and experiential opportunities that are embedded in the program, on really our opportunities that we provide for our students and our alumni really to seize, including our advisory board, which are made up of a dozen really outstanding professionals in the field of IO and HR. You can take a look on our website, see who they are. They provide mentorship. They are the pulse of what is needed in industry. They got my back as far as validating assumptions. And our students and even prospective students can meet with those advisory board members to just get a sense of what their career journey has been. We also have experiential opportunities such as events, such as this one for that matter, but we also had a recent one back in February with the Personnel Testing Council of Metropolitan Washington. We call that our early career event. And that was an opportunity to have our students hear from early career professionals to find out about their journeys, to perhaps model their journeys after those who have already charted a path ahead. We also get involved in SIOP, Society for Human Resource Management, and I think that really captures our program, really the combination of in the classroom with outstanding professors and learning within the classroom, as well as the experiential learning opportunities. Sometimes those learning opportunities will be on campus. Sometimes they will be in places like Alabama, where we have students that have gone to do an assessment center down in Alabama and have reported back it was a great experience. So we try to keep our students and alumni informed of internship opportunities, these experiential opportunities, and also jobs after they graduate, or other internships. I just sent one out to our students today about a summer internship possibility. So I don't want to take too much more time from Dr. Abad, who's going to lead us to the next section of today's program, which is a Q&A. with students and alumni. So what I'm going to do is really call upon, since there's no real rhyme or reason in how these squares of pictures come up on the screen. So I'm going to ask each of you to introduce yourself, whether you're a student or an alum, if you have a day job, what that day job is, and then we'll do a deeper dive in terms of your experience in the program with the questions from Dr. Abad. So I'm going to start with Hassan. So once again, your first and last name, if you're still in the program, as well as if you are working, whether you're an alum or a student. So Hassan.
And thank you for the small introduction. My name is Hassan Dandridge. I am still a current student, and my plan is to graduate in the fall of 2024, or at least finish my work. Oh yes, and I'm currently working. I'm a human resource coordinator, and I've been doing that for since 2016. So yeah.
Great, thank you. Next, I have on the screen Jassity.
Hi everyone, my name is Jassity Tillman. I'm a current student. I'm about to graduate next month, actually, which is really exciting. And I'm currently in my capstone course. And as far as a job, I am a human resources intern at DCI Consulting. It's a federal contractor that helps other organizations with affirmative action needs, as well as other like legal and other IO emphasis work. But nice to see everyone, and I'm happy to share my experience with the next questions.
Thank you. We've had a great synergy with DCI, by the way, students and faculty and advisory board members. Chelsea.
Hi, I'm Chelsea. I am currently working towards finishing my master's. I'm supposed to finish it up in May. Outside of that, for day job, I just recently was promoted in the last few weeks. I was an HR generalist. I am now a transformation coach in the University of Maryland Medical System. So brand new job. Yay.
Great. Thank you, Chelsea. Jen.
Hello, I'm Jen McIntosh. I am an alum, recent alum, and I am a career civilian with the Department of Defense.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Jen. Next, I see Sabrina.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sabrina Williams. I'm a recent alum. I graduated in December 2023. Currently, right now, I am the program manager for mentoring at the National Institutes of Health.
Great, thank you. And I think Jessica.
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Jessica Lim, and I am a current student for the UMBC-Shady Grove. Enrolled in the IO Psychology Master's Program. I currently work in the Division of Human Resources for the Baltimore County Public School System, and I'm currently a second-year student, and I'm graduating this upcoming May.
Okay, Dr. Abad, take it away.
Welcome. My name is Alyssa Abad, and I am Assistant Graduate Program Director in our IO Psychology program, and we have a few questions that we'd like to ask the panel members. Hopefully we'll give you some insight in terms of the experiences that you, if you apply and are accepted, will also have, and hopefully pique your interest. So I think we'll start off with our alumni on the panel. So I'm going to ask Jen first, and then Sabrina, if you could please provide a bit of background on your current job title and role. What type of work are you currently engaged in? Please share how you obtained your current position or career path. So if Jen can kick that off, that would be great.
Thanks, Dr. Abad, and thanks for having me here. So I'm a little bit of an oddball in the sense that this is my second graduate school experience, and I very much came to this program to apply everything that I learned immediately to all the work that I was doing. I'm currently the chief of an organization called Enterprise Assessments, and within a new organization called the Office of Enterprise Resilience. At my agency. When I joined the program, I had the pleasure of being in kind of like the equivalent of a sabbatical for government service, where I had the ability to scope out a learning path of things that I wanted to grow in and to bring back to my agency. And so for me, the consulting in IO psychology was a really important aspect that I wanted to be able to bring back and apply. And so every single thing that I was doing, learning in class from consulting, I would be on a rotation and then be able to put all those kinds of consulting things together immediately when I was working for a research and development organization. In another program, I took strategic planning and immediately set about to create a plan. So I was intentionally applying this within the workplace. But the way that I got my position in the first place was through a development program. And so federal agencies, lots of them, have 3-year rotational programs where you're not coming in like at the bottom of the barrel, but you're given an opportunity for 3 years to be able to move from program to program. So I started my career as a rotational development program person more than 20 years ago. And the one that I just did was for senior civilians to be able to kind of refresh their skills as well and bring that all back. So I highly recommend, if you find that an agency has a developmental program, that is a great way to get in the door and be able to be able to contribute very quickly by going to multiple places and learning a lot of things at once. So I'll pause there so that I don't take all the air in the room. But I will just say one more thing, is that because of all the behavioral competences that I picked up, in addition on the other programs in conflict management and other things, I have a side gig as an internal executive coach as well. So I do executive coaching internally, and I do training in conflict management for the organization as my side gig. So over for me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Okay, Sabrina, can you talk a little bit about your background, your current job title and role?
Yes. So right now I am the program manager for mentoring at the National Institutes of Health. I have to say a special thank you to Dr. Lassen. During my first semester being in the program, he sent out a notification about a job announcement that was going to come out soon for the National Institutes of Health. I applied, and that's actually how I got my foot in the door into the agency. So special thanks to him for that. So kind of moving forward into how I got my current role that I have now. I do work in the Office of Human Resources, specifically in the Workforce Support and Development Division. I got the role because of my capstone project, actually. So Dr. Lassen, I'm sure you remember, my capstone project was about improving the state of mentoring at the National Institutes of Health. At the time, I worked closely with the program manager for mentoring then, but after I graduated, they ended up leaving that role and going into another role in the agency. So the role to take over was just kind of offered to me because I was already at NIH. I was already doing workforce support and development activities. But before I had actually got my current role, I was actually a management and program analyst. And that role had largely consisted of employee engagement, workforce planning and analytics and things of that nature. But right now, as a program manager for mentoring, I take on a lot of marketing responsibilities, project planning and implementation responsibilities. And to kind of go even further and relate it to what I learned in the program, I do focus a lot on the training and development piece, survey design and development, data literacy, so like data collection, analysis, visualization, and also engaging stakeholders in my role.
Thank you. Thanks, Sabrina.
If I could just add, Dr. Abad, I really have to respond. It was very touching, Sabrina, those complimentary words. One of the things that I talk about that I think really captures what Sabrina said is my definition of professional networking, which is a series of ongoing communication points that will increase the probability of putting someone in the right place at the right time. And this program, hopefully, based on her testimonial, is a context where she was able to find an opportunity, seize the opportunity, and one thing led to the other. One thing led to the other. The capstone led to being involved in something that led to something. So this is part of your professional networking. Hopefully you're going to, learn in the program as well. But really, she was in the right place at the right time 2 times. So I'll just mention that. And that's really one of the things that I try to do in the program in terms of facilitating things. And really, I think it's a testament to seizing the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Lassen. Okay, I have a couple questions or a question for Hassan, Jessica, and Jassity. So just thinking about what motivated you to pursue IO psychology specifically at UMBC at our campus in Rockville. And then as you reflect upon your experiences in our program, which courses, including capstone, have been most valuable to you on your path, and why? So Hassan, if you want to kick us off with that answer to that question, thank you very much.
Thank you. So there was no specific one thing. I had an experience with a person who worked at the APA who told me about IO psychology, and I said, well, okay, I'll just check it out and I'll look at it. And I knew I wanted to get into a master's program. I didn't know which master's program, so I went on the website and I saw that it was within distance, within distance of me because I live in Maryland. It had interesting classes that were being offered, and I think that was the biggest draw for me. I didn't know everything about IO psychology or know how to apply everything, but I had faith that I would learn something. And when I put my application in, I felt really good. And my first professor was Professor Rudo, who said he had looked over a few of our applications and he recognized some names, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm in. So I should also mention that I graduated from UMGC, the online college. So I am an alumni, and I also attended Montgomery College at Tacoma, the Tacoma Park campus. So I've gone through the system of the Maryland Collegiate. Everybody's got a little piece of me, and it's been great. And I think two of the best classes that I hold on to consistently have been Professor Abad's class with consulting, and Professor KMP with strategic planning. I think I've gotten the most out of those 2 classes, and the 3 other panelists who are current students, we were all in that class, if I'm not mistaken. I've had classes with all of them. So those classes I was able to turn around immediately and apply to to my business dealings outside of the university, and try to be as professional in something that I did not know. I'm just not a master yet, but really try my hand. So those 2 classes gave me a lot of confidence and a lot of material to work with, and I'm appreciative that I'm glad I took them.
Thank you, Hassan. Jessica?
Yeah, so it's an interesting story because so during my undergraduate career at UMBC, I took an introductory course to IO psychology with Dr. Abad, which actually interested/prompted me to pursue the field of IO psychology. And so during that same semester, I took the course with Dr. Abad. Dr. Lassen actually came in and spoke about the program and its requirements. So I guess throughout my undergraduate career, this program had always been in the back of my mind/radar. So I eventually knew I wanted to pursue this, the program of IO psychology at UMBC-Shady Grove. And so as I reflect on my experience in the program, I guess the 2 courses that I found the most valuable were professional HR practices and strategic planning. I guess because the professors were very personable, and the content really aligned with my career goals since I do want to pursue the field of human resources.
Excellent, thank you. And then Chastity, you want to share your motivations?
Yeah, so I pretty much knew that I wanted to attend the Shady Grove campus because when I was in undergrad, my entire junior year was the pandemic year, the COVID year. So we were all at home. And as I was searching for a grad school to attend, I was like, I don't want to be online again. It just didn't really work for me. I'm very social, so I need to be in person and interact with everyone. So seeing that this campus was in person and then also had some hybrid options was kind of like the best of both worlds for me. And I really appreciated that they kind of put an emphasis on having a job during the day, aside from other programs. Like my other program that I was considering was George Mason. They have to be in class during the day. And I'm someone who lives on my own, so I need to work during the day and then have the balance of going to school at night. So it was really perfect. And as I reflect on my experience, I would say every single class that we've taken has been beneficial and valuable in its own way. But the top three for me would be, again, like Jessica and Hassan said, strategic planning. And then the other two is change management and consulting with Dr. Abad. The strategic planning course really gave me the confidence, like Hassan said, to really go out there and show what I learned in real time. You just walk away with that class with so many like valuable tools that you can apply like right then and there. And then change management assisted me with the graduate student consulting challenge that I participated in that I'll touch on later on when we ask another question, but that really pushed my team to first place because I was able to give my team some valuable information about change management that they didn't learn in their program from George Mason again. They had no idea what change management was. And I was like, wow, like we have a whole class built around that. And then finally consulting, that course last semester, I would say fully prepared me for my capstone course this semester because I'm working with a client in real time and I'm able to communicate with my client effectively. And if I didn't take that course, I would be a little worried. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Chastity. Okay, so just to, Dr. Lassen had talked about a lot of the experiential opportunities that our program provides, but we'd like to hear from our panel also in terms of how that personally impacted them. So I guess let's start with Chelsea. If you could tell us about any impactful experiential opportunities that you have taken advantage of as a student in our IO program, and then also please address the topic of professional development. Are there any professional organizations that you have engaged in or certifications that you've pursued while you were in our program?
Of course. So it's kind of funny because the IO program, there's one thing that I've learned from being in this program is that everyone seems to know what IO is, but no one seems to know what IO means. So everyone thinks that IO is a really impressive title to have behind your name, but no one seems to understand exactly what it means. So when I started as an HR coordinator in the St. Joseph Medical Center in Towson, Maryland, I started the IO program pretty much at the exact same time. And one of the reasons why they put me through a leadership certification course at the time is because I was pursuing an IO psychology master's at the same time. They saw me going places, and so they were like, you know what, if she's doing this, then we might as well push her through a certification course as well, which was a leadership-focused Six Sigma course that they personally developed called Lean for Leaders. Lean for Leaders was able to help push me into an HR generalist position within the same organization. That then allowed me to spend a lot more time working on some of the projects that I've been doing in the IO program. So just off the top of my head, some of the projects I've been able to do with the program in mind. I was able to work on a tech implementation for our orientation processes. I was able to work on succession planning for 2 different hospitals in the medical system area. I was able to work on incentive services revitalization and revamping. I was able to also work on employee engagement revamping. So there's been a bunch of projects that I've worked on just because of the IO program itself and how hands-on the program and classes are. And all of that work was able to put a good foot forward for me to be able to get the promotion into the transformation coach position that I'm in now. So really, IO's been able to push me up this nice little ladder inside my organization. So now I can say I'm a transformation coach, which is kind of cool. Within the IO program specifically, I was part of the graduate student consulting competition like Chikati was. I did the first annual one. I believe she did the second one, which was a really cool experience. We were able to work with Kronos, the Kronos team, to try to create a consulting project for them to try to help them with their person development programs. And I was also able to spend a year and a half not only on the student blog on campus, as well as being a writing center tutor. So I spent a lot of time doing a lot of stuff. So yeah.
Thank you, Chelsea. Hassan, I know it's like there's a lot of mini questions in here, so I'm just going to repeat the question again. For Hassan, any impactful experiential opportunities you may have taken advantage of as a student while in our program, and then sort of address the topic of professional development. What opportunities have you taken advantage of, and are there any professional organizations that you're part of or have pursued?
Absolutely. So the biggest experience outside of obviously like the classes and I guess two experiences. So I am not a naturally like outwardly social person, though I know my fellow students would think different. I know I can talk all day, but the courses that the people that I had an opportunity to meet here have actually got me to get outside of that. I started to literally just say, hey, just we can connect on LinkedIn because I felt like that was a good way to grow my professional I guess cohort and expand my horizons and get more information and again make sure that I'm propelling myself in the way that I want to and directing my career. So I would say not the socialization, but the networking portion, especially with, professors and students, that has been a great experience and it's actually been successful. And then the next experience would be the mentoring program. My mentor is Michael Hale, and I'm very proud to say he's my mentor because he has given me a tremendous amount of support. And he's actually challenged, my the thoughts that I've had about how to move through things. He has introduced me, to different business partners of his. He even introduced me to his wife, who is also in the IO field, and has given me a lot of opportunity and a lot to actually say to people when I'm having these conversations. Right now, I guess in 15 days or 14 days, I'll be going to PSYOP, and I try to make that a goal, not only because I know that that the program is designed, to get you into that, but I heard Professor Lassen, Dr. Lassen talk about it. I heard Dr. Hale talk about it, so I'm like, you know what? I need to go to PSYOP before I'm out of the program because that way I can still get the student discount and and be able to capitalize on the current development in my career. And I'm also a member of BIOP, which is the Black IO Psychology organization. They had their meeting down in Atlanta, I believe, in February. So I'll be going next year as well, so that I can, fully just ingratiate myself to all the people that are in the IO field within the field, pretty much. Yes.
Thank you. Thanks, Hassan. Yeah, there are a lot of opportunities that you can really take advantage of while you're a student, and also in terms of discounts, like getting student rates for PSYOP and things like that. So there is, a lot of benefits to being in the program and being able to take advantage of some of those conferences and professional memberships. Okay, Jessity, if you would like to kind of share some of your experiences, and I know you've done a lot in terms of professional development and networking, so we'd love to hear your experience.
Yeah, so I would say the mentorship program has been completely impactful in my experience in the program so far. I had a mentor my first semester. I forget his name, but it wasn't really the experience that I was hoping for mentorship wise. So the next semester, you're able to select another mentor. And I'm so happy that I gave it another shot because my mentor, we instantly connected. And she's actually the one who told me about my current position that I'm in. She's the vice president of human resources at DCI Consulting. And she said, hey, it's internship season and we have an application open. If you wanted to apply, just give it a shot. You never know. So I ended up landing the position. And I was just very thankful that Dr. Lassen sent out the mentorship program again, and that we were able to even switch mentors. I know that's not ideal. You want to keep the same one, but sometimes it's not a good fit. So you just want to move on to another person. So I was so happy that I was able to switch and put myself in the position to be hired as an intern. And that this entire year, it was a year-long internship. So this year has been very beneficial as far as professional growth for myself and getting the hands-on experience working with IOs on the daily basis and how they think strategically and seeing the things that I'm learning in this program implemented in real life. The second experiential opportunity I would say is, well, it's actually coming up soon. It's the fire and EMS assessment. It's an assessment opportunity working with DC Fire and EMS. And Dr. Lassen sent that out, I think about a month or two ago. And I'm very excited. We have training next Wednesday. And so I'll be trained to assess. I'm not sure what I'll be assessing yet, but I'll be training to assess, I guess, people, and then doing the actual assessment on Sunday, April 14th, I believe. So I'm very excited for that. And I also wanted to take advantage of the Jefferson County opportunity that I've heard so much about my entire time, but I think they're taking a break from it right now because I haven't seen or heard any correspondence about it recently. But if it does come back up and you're in the program, I would definitely take advantage of that. And Dr. Lassen is constantly sending anything you see in your email, just apply. Like if you have a quick minute, just shoot an application, or you never know where it will take you. And I think that's the whole point of the style of the program. It's meant to put you out there and give you that applied experience. And I can say that I've taken advantage of almost anything that they've sent. And as far as professional development, I am a member of IPAC. I hope to go to the PSYOP conference, and I attended the BIOP, the Blacks in IO Psychology conference in February. It was amazing. You don't have to be Black to go, but it was really nice, and I'm super excited for next year. I made some very valuable connections, and then even when you say the program name, they're like, "Oh, I've heard of that." And people hear good things about this program, so I would say if you're interested in applying, definitely do that, as well as two other things. The PTCMW Graduate Student Consulting Challenge I completed last fall. My team ended up being first place, like I said before, but the judges were just blown away at our knowledge of change management. And like I said, I kind of had to take the lead on that because my other team members didn't really, not that they didn't know what change management was, but they didn't know how to apply it or define it. And I had actual hands-on, this is how you do this is how you train people to be change managers, and just give them actual applicable steps to applying that to the fictitious organization that we were helping. And I also, sorry, I wrote everything down. Oh, I also attended the Chesapeake Human Resources Association conference with Dr. Bod and Dr. Lassen last fall. I think it was another random email that Dr. Lassen sent out, and they were looking for 2 students to attend. And so again, I just put an application, or I just expressed my interest, and I was there, and I actually got offered a job on the spot, but I'm not from Baltimore. So the lady needed someone that lived like 5 minutes away from the job to be there every single day. And it would have been like almost a 2-hour commute for me. So I would have accepted it, but location wise, it didn't work. But again, another open door just based on just expressing your interest and being open to all opportunities. So if you're open, there's plenty of opportunities in this program. And I feel like that's what I love the most, as well as, like Hassan said, the connections with the people in my class. Like, you don't know who you're sitting next to. They could be the VP or something, or like Jen was in our class and she's a whole everything. So yeah, just take advantage of your resources.
Well, thanks so much, Chastity. Okay, I think we're up to our final question, and I'm going to have Jessica kick us off. So, given where you are right now in your professional career, sort of what are your future aspirations? What aspirations do you have? Where do you see yourself in 5 years or 10 years? And are there any sort of roles that you would like to pursue?
Yeah, so I guess within the next 5 to 10 years, I do want to eventually become SHRM certified, because I know that's a good certification to have under your belt. And I would like to consider going for my PhD. I know that a lot of people in this program eventually do go on to pursue their PhD. I'm currently looking at PhD programs in Maryland, so I guess we'll see. And I do eventually want to work for the government, and specific job roles that I would like to pursue would I do eventually want to become a senior HR analyst or go into management.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Jen McIntosh, sort of where you are in your professional career, what sort of future aspirations do you have? Where do you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years? And you've done so much, you've had so many different roles, but is there anything that you that you haven't pursued yet that you would like to in the future?
No, thanks. No, Chastity is so inspiring, because that attitude of like, yes, 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 I'll just say yes and see where that takes me is kind of a little bit in my spirit too. I originally started as a mathematician. That was my original education, and a bit of a decision analyst. But over the course of the last, let's say decade, I realized that the math wasn't the hard part. It was scoping problems. It was change management. It was team dynamics and innovation and consulting and coaching that was missing from stuff. So, for me, my evolution is this program has allowed me to evolve and say, now I don't want to just fake at trying to do these other things. I want to be able to say that I'm trained and have some sort of credential to be able to support teams and to support people through conflict and other things. So my current position actually was offered to me because of my consulting experience with Dr. Abad, because I had already practiced trying to repair one organization in crisis, and they wanted somebody who could take over after a reorganization that had happened. And so, so for me, that transition where I see myself actually is different, is slowly but surely becoming more of this kind of work, to have what's been kind of a side gig become more of my main gig, to be able to do much more consulting and coaching, much more training and those kinds of things. So I think probably my 5-year plan is to completely shift from doing to have the side gig become the main gig, and focus so much more on helping teams and helping organizations and individuals through their work. Over.
Thank you. Okay. Next, Sabrina. Sort of what are your aspirations given where you are currently? Where do you see yourself in 5 years or 10 years? What type of role would you like to pursue?
So I'm fairly open-minded when it comes to like the future of my career because I've just found that when you stay focused and kind of hone some of the skills you have, that networks of opportunity will align and doors will open. But otherwise, I'd say my main aspiration would be to become a senior workforce analyst. I ended up liking data analytics way more than I initially assumed I would. When I started the master's program, I was nervous about statistics because that was one of the first classes that I took during my first semester. And statistics was not my strong suit. But I had a great professor, Professor Jurek, who really took the fear of statistics away, and she made it very fun. I'll never forget the first class. She said that statistics is simply storytelling with data. And after she said it like that, I thought to myself, wow, like that doesn't sound too bad. So I had ended up getting a lot more confidence in working with data. And by taking that class, even applying data analytics to what I do now on the job, I realized how fun it can be to analyze data and share the story that it's telling with other people. And just also being able to visualize and communicate the data in a way that others can understand and immediately apply. That's something that I really enjoy. And I'd also say one more thing I'd like to do is become well versed in RStudio and Python because those are very hot right now in terms of data analysis, and to just be certified and just have skills in coding in that way is amazing. It does wonders for you in this data analytics industry. So
Thank you, Sabrina. Chelsea?
So, Dr. Lassen mentioned this a little bit earlier about the public policy PhD program. I am happy to say that I got accepted into it just a few weeks ago. So that is my next big plan, is going through the PhD program with the public policy group to try to get my hands a little bit more on, I understand how these things work, but why do they work this way? And how did they come about getting to this point? So I'm very excited to start that in the near future. My hope is to continue working as a transformation coach for the near future as well, possibly even going into the senior transformation coach position that they have at the organization I'm working at. They're also very much expanding that department to the other 13 hospitals in the network. So I have a feeling that that's going to be an interesting route to follow as time goes on. So those are my big roles as of right now.
Yes, congratulations, Chelsea. It's really amazing that you were able to, pursue so much while working full time and then also in the program. So we're looking forward to seeing where you go. Okay, so in terms of the questions that we had, that's pretty much it, but we didn't ask everybody every question. So if there's anyone on the panel that wants to respond to one of the prior questions that they may not have been chosen for, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Or if anybody just wants to add anything before we sort of turn it over to our participants for questions.
Yes. So I always try to communicate in your class, Dr. Abad, my plan, hopefully, to have my own HR, like IO consulting business. Laughably, I tried to think that I would have it done by the time I graduated. I guess I didn't anticipate on all the things that I would need to do. But I think that is an admirable goal to have. And I believe the program actually helps people think in that way, because a lot of the courses and the content are requiring us to think not as an employee, but as a consultant, as a partner. So my whole goal was to craft my my classes in order to be able to come out and say, hey, all right, well, I know I can talk to people. I know how to run this and that. And I also have experience in the human resource field. So definitely combining what you already know with what you're going to learn in the program is the best way to keep the information fresh and keep yourself self-motivated, which is another thing that, obviously you'll learn for the psychological aspect of an IO. So.
Thank you, Hassan. Okay, well, we have a few minutes left, 10 minutes left. Does anybody have any questions for our panelists that you would like to ask? You can either type it in the chat or you can unmute yourself, raise your hand, and good opportunity. Have at least 5 people you can ask questions either about the program or about careers, whatever, whatever piques your interest.
Hi, this is Kim. So just question in general about the workload of the classes, and it sounds like majority of you all have like HR type backgrounds. I have a business background, but at the master's level, like the work load, are you required, when you're completing your work, scholarly references, and are you going to need that psychology background to really thrive in the program?
Anyone want to take that?
That was for the panelists.
Yeah, I can take a shot.
Yes, for the panelists. Yeah.
Yeah, I can kind of answer this one. So I would say for the behavioral statistics course, as well as methods of assessment, I would say that's where like the psychology background would be helpful, but they teach you everything you need to know, like not necessarily like the basics. Like it would be helpful to have a little bit of knowledge already, especially about like the scientific methods or like any type of statistical. If you've never done statistics ever, I can see that being a little difficult to start, but our professors are very resourceful and helpful. They're always willing to either stay after and talk or give you different resources that might help. So it's nothing that is impossible, but I can see that if you've never had like the psychology curriculum, whether it be undergrad or any other schooling before, how it could be a bit challenging initially, just to be completely honest.
I'll also add that from a workload perspective, I may not look it, but I'm 50, and when I first went to school, not everything was online. Everything was different. So I felt that it was a little bit of oh yeah, I forgot that this is hard, but to Chastity's point, it was completely compatible with my work schedule. So all the classes were in the evening. I was able to complete work in the evenings and on the weekends. So it definitely woke me up, but it wasn't too much. I think it's very much friendly for people who are still working full time or have family and careers as well.
Let me just add very quickly to speak to both Chastity and Jen's points. The requirements, the 2 prerequisite courses that we require are Intro to Psychology and some sort of statistics or research methods. So even those who are not psych majors, those 2 courses are the prerequisite foundations. As it relates to the workload and kind of this balance, our courses start at 6:00 p.m., which gives students an opportunity to get from wherever they're working, or if they're working from home, to the campus, assuming that we're talking about an in-person class. So our courses and our schedule is employment friendly, just to kind of add that in.
We have a question from Shannon about course scheduling. So our courses, we don't have any day courses. All of our courses are in the evening. And the question asked also about, are most of our classes hybrid? We have a few that are hybrid, but most of our classes are face-to-face and are intended to be that way. And then there was a question about letters of recommendation. We have academic, we require academic letters of recommendation, but we also accept professional recommendations as well. What else? Other questions? There's a question about electives. So we have an orientation at the end of the summer, and we also have a student handbook that lists sort of what the required courses are, what the electives are. You're assigned to an advisor. So you have a lot of resources that you can use to help you kind of plan out your program of study.
I'd like to add that all the professors are like willing to share information. So if you wanted to take a course and it wasn't available, or you had another course there, you can always reach out to that professor and I mean literally just pick their brain and see what what books you can get outside of that course and the coursework in order to get the understanding, because the concepts that we're working with aren't we're not doing rocket science. We're really working with people and data, so it's right there for you. You just kind of have to wrapping your mind around it. So it I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's like I said, I am not the student. Like that is the hallmark for students. I think Jassity, Chelsea, Jessica, and Jen, I think remember a lot more about the class than I did that we took together, and I think they're great examples of what to be like. But I can tell you, if I have made it this far, then there is a place and there are people here that will support you. And like I said, honestly, that's the reason why I'm still here. Because if it wasn't for Dr. Lassen and Abad, and Dr. Rudo, KMP, Dr. Jurek, I mean, Dr. Snyder now, Dr. O'Rourke. I mean, there are so many doctors that you will meet that are quality people, and that are as interested in you as you are yourself. So you're the driver, you know, they are the passenger, and they have the roadmap. But it's up to you to hit the gas and to keep your eyes on the road and to ask for help when you need it. So that's an important way to succeed at this program.
I would say that in class, Hassan's a little, humble, but some of I remember the applied social psychology seminar. Some of the most intriguing and thoughtful conversations were facilitated when he asked the question. I very much appreciated his maturity and how he brought a certain perspective and clarity to the classroom. So thank you, Hassan.
If I could just add one thing, yes, I agree. Hassan is a pleasure to have in class. Always encouraging some type of conversation. But I can say another unique thing about the program is that it's kind of like, to answer the question about the electives, which electives did you end up choosing? So for our program, like uniquely, it's kind of like a la carte approach, whereas some programs just kind of sit you on the tracks and just send you to whatever they want you to do. But like it's you get to just kind of choose whichever ones you want to take. And it's really like special because say you're interested in something in the beginning, like I thought I would be like a data person. Like unlike Sabrina, the data analyst part is just not for me. I'm really, like I said, I'm really social and I like to talk to people. So that's why when I took the consultant course towards the end of my tenure, it was like, oh, wow, so this is what I really like. And the strategic planning course opened my mind up to new ideas that I wasn't aware of before. So as time goes, you'll kind of like hone in more your interests, but that's why this program is very special because it gives you that flexibility versus saying like, here, you're forced to be on this one track with everybody. Everybody has to like the same things. Because I know it's some, like Jessica, I've taken most of my classes with Jessica, but there's a few that we haven't had together and she's been able to like tell me what those were about. And I'm like, oh, I'm glad I didn't take that because I'm not interested. So yeah.
Okay. We probably have one question, and then that'll be our last because we only have a couple minutes. So if maybe one panelist wants to talk a little bit about any challenges that they've faced in your studies and how have you overcome them. But maybe just one panelist if they want to respond to that, and then we'll close out. No challenges.
No. I was trying to open the floor. I would say the biggest challenge is time management. You know, just being open and honest. And you as I told Professor O'Rourke the other day, I'm like, I know I just have to be an adult about it. You know, like you're tired from work. So, you know, you have that on your mind. If you have a family, which some of our current like students do have, or if you have a significant other, you have responsibilities outside of the classroom. But you know, the way that you overcome it is, like I said, is remembering that you're in the driver's seat, and I can assure you, the teachers that you have, the professors that you have, and the people that you meet along the way, you won't want to not see them next semester, and you won't want to not get their feedback. And you know, you're here for yourself, so you're not really here for anyone else. But you know, and you'll know within the first couple of weeks who can really help you, and who you really have to listen to and watch. You'll learn different ways to improve yourself. I think one of the biggest ways is mentally, because there is that psychological aspect that we all have because we're human. So I'm not through overcoming all of the challenges, but time management is one of them. But like I said, I try to remember that people have invested time into me, so let me invest time into myself.
Thank you. We do have some other questions, but I think to be mindful of the time, I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Lassen. If anybody wants to email either of us, or if our panelists are open to, you know, providing their UMBC email address, you know, we can look into that for you as well. Okay, Dr. Lassen.
Okay, I'd like to thank everybody for participating and really hearing firsthand some things that we as program administrators and professors, we could not articulate as real as the panel of students and alumni were able to articulate. So I thank the panel for doing that for us, and hopefully everybody that attended here was able to get a good sense of some of the aspects of our program. As far as the kind of nitty gritty, I would advise you to go to the website to get specific information about courses, advisory board members, and such. And you know, if there's any administrative question, we have our admin team of Chelsea and Chris. And today is April the 3rd, and some of you, I don't know for sure, but some of you may have intention to apply for our program this coming fall. So we have fall admits, and if any of you have any issues with the application process, please contact our admin team. And I hope to be able to see and review some of the applications that some of the people in this virtual room will be submitting, as well as maybe some people that are viewing a recording of this session. Once again, the deadline is May the 1st. So I found that one of the more challenging, I think Chris mentioned this in a meeting last week, in terms of completing the application, one of the more challenging things is getting those letters of recommendation. It's actually not only a letter, but it's also a rating form that the recommenders will complete. So, you know, that's one thing. If you want to get your application in and get those recommenders in the queue, they will be given kind of a trigger to complete the form and the letter. So once again, I hope to see some of you in the application queue, and you know, we have other events. If you do apply and you do get in, we have orientation and all these other things to help you with onboarding. So once again, thank you for attending, and have a good evening, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night.
Thanks.
Thank you.